Hi everyone, Anahita Rao again, and today we will speak about the most feared house is the 8th house. It's the most feared house in astrology because it's a Dushtana house. It represents events that transpire in our lives that are very sudden and unpredictable, often leading to transformation of sorts, but frankly, nobody likes that kind of change. So that is what makes it the most feared house. It is also the 12th from the 9th house, and the 9th house representing your luck. So it's sort of a loss of that luck or fortune or prosperity, if you will. So it is a house that normally it is very difficult to deal with. It brings difficult issues into a person's life, especially when you're going through the dasha of the 8th house or the 8th lord. This can come up. So let's dive into it. And I want to actually get into some things about the 8th house that perhaps you didn't know. And I want to focus on some positive aspects of the 8th house because there are many positive aspects of the 8th house that often get overlooked. So I want to get into that a little bit more. Okay, so what is the 8th house? It comes with a lot of negative connotations. It represents fears. Depending on what's present there, where the 8th house is, you can determine what type of fear that the native experiences. It of course represents sudden changes, drastic transformations, unexpected upheavals happening in your life. So that is something that none of us look forward to. It can represent debts, loans, what you owe someone else, but also it represents legacies and wealth of your partner. Sudden inheritance that comes your way. So if your 8th house is strong and in a good position, getting benefic aspects, or the 8th lord is getting benefic aspects, you can definitely expect at some point some kind of unexpected wealth coming your way through another person, because it is other people's resources. So it also represents interest in hidden things. It allows one, again, if you've got a very nicely disposed 8th house, and it will allow you to get deep into things, into the heart of any matter, and uncover the truth. So that's one of the positive aspects of it. It represents, the same note, it represents mysteries of life. This is where you see the occult, the astrology, palmistry, all kinds of occult studies are represented by the 8th house. It also represents sexual attractions. It's the consummation of the marriage because it is second from the 7th. And it is also representative of the married life itself. So if you've got a malefic there, unless it's getting benefic aspects, you may not be very happy in your married life. If you have, it's actually better not to have any planet in the 8th house itself. But even when it's getting aspected by planets, it creates an emotionally complex relationship with your partner. And that's something to watch for. Rather than, I think what happens is normally we end up blaming our partners for problems that we don't understand or are coming from ourselves. And so if you have that awareness about your chart and you see that this is where you need to sort of be aware of and just be watchful of. You may not be able to improve it, or you may be able to just simply accept it, but even that goes a very long way. It represents money gained from the spouse, as we covered. It represents also money from pension, from Social Security. In other words, anything that is not earned. It represents your longevity. It represents the ability to do research and go very deeply into it. So if you've got a good 8th house, that's going to be a skill that you have naturally. If you have a strong 8th house, you also will have very strong intuition. psychic ability. You'll sort of get a sixth sense of what's going to happen. Metaphysics, astrology, all of this is covered by the eighth house. And generally speaking, if you have a powerful eighth house, you have a lot of life energy, because that's where the sexual energy comes from. It's the Muladhara chakra that is being activated, and so you will definitely have a lot of life energy, which leads to sexual energy, which leads to having a very nice a nice sex appeal. So that's one of the advantages of having a really good eighth house. Now, what is the Karaka of the eighth house? Saturn, of course, is the Karaka of the eighth house. So Saturn's condition also must be analyzed for you to understand whether or not your eighth house is working in a positive fashion or not. I would also say, see the strength of it in Ashtak Virga. See if it is strong, the transformations will benefit you overall. So even though you're going through the upheavals and the unexpected changes, but the end result will work in your favor if you have a strong eighth house. You may get transformation in the form of becoming more spiritual, for example. You could become very good at occult, astrology, all the mystical sciences. That's one of the sort of the more positive transformations that you will see for someone who has a strong eighth house. If the sun and moon come in the eighth house, you won't have too many problems because the sun and the moon protect the eighth house. If the eighth lord is aspecting or in the eighth house itself, then again, you will get protection from that eighth lord. Now, wherever the eighth lord is placed, the results will get altered if it is aspected by another planet. So let's say, for example, the eighth lord is being aspected by the 10th lord. And so that would be beneficial for a career in investments or occult or astrology, as we discussed. The thing to remember about the eighth lord is that it's an influential lord. It's an influential house. So if it is sitting with other planets, it's going to take on the shape and form of those other planets and be influenced by them. So for example, if it is being influenced by the sixth lord, it's going to take on the characteristics of the sixth house and the sixth lordship. So that is something to be watchful of. And this is something that is in the classics itself. It's in Laghu Parashara. So 8th and the 12th as well, along with the 2nd, are houses that are influential houses and take on the shape and color of other planets that they're situated with or aspected by. Now, I think the best remedy, now I explained in my 6th house video that the best remedy for 6th house is seva, which is service. Because that is, it's one of the things that is signified by the 6th house itself. So if that is what you do, then you will get much better results for 6th house matters that are causing you problems in your life or causing you frustrations. Now with the 8th house, it's not as simple as that. With the 8th house, the best remedy for the 8th house is surrender. So basically, you don't want to resist change. You just want to be open to it. You want the transformation to just come and embrace it. At least accept it. If you're not happy about it, fine, but at least accept it and play a passive role. So surrender to that transformation and that change. And that's the best way to deal with the 8th house energy. Because if you resist the change and you try to control the situations, then effectively what you're doing is you're blocking the energy, the natural energy of the 8th house, which is the energy of transformation. So by surrendering, you're saying I'm open to it. By trying to control situations, which we all do, because I think that's a natural reaction to change, and especially if it's not pleasant change. So we will try to control it and we try to mold it in our favor. But with the 8th house, you would be you would be doing a disservice if you did that. So the best thing to do is to surrender. And by surrendering, you're no longer blocking the energy. You're letting it take its toll and accepting the transformation, and dealing with the result as it comes. So the transformation that it brings, again, is usually sudden, and I think that is what is very difficult to deal with. And of course, this is the reason why it gets the Dushtana house label as well. I hope that was helpful regarding the 8th house matters. As usual, please subscribe below. If you have any comments, feel free to write them below as well. And if you want a consultation, please look at my website. It's anahitarao.com. Thank you.